Hi, folks. Unfortunately, every single day, thousands of our beloved veterans find themselves struggling. They may be struggling trying to adapt to civilian life, or they may be struggling because they miss the camaraderie and the structure that they had experienced while they were in service. They may need someone to talk to, or they may just need someone to listen. Hi. Welcome to Around the Town with Marilyn Forbes. For today's show, we're going to be meeting with veteran Keith Medley of Scottdale, who's going to be telling us about some of the opportunities that are available for each and every veteran out there. So please, folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Well, folks, as promised, we're going to be chatting now with Keith, who's going to tell us about some of the opportunities that are available to veterans in the area. But first of all, he's going to tell us a little bit about his service. First of all, thank you so much. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on the show. So start us at the beginning, Keith. I know you're not even originally from the area.
No.
So tell us a little bit of your history.
Well, I'm originally from Orange County, New York, a little town called Walden, and I sat there, and when I graduated high school, I didn't see too many opportunities for me, so I was like, well, let's go check out the military. So I joined the Navy back in 1987.
Why the Navy?
Why the Navy? Long story.
We have 30 minutes.
But they were the one service that would take me.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of trouble growing up, so I sat there, and the Navy was willing to take their chances with me, and I was willing
Awesome.
to take my chances with the Navy. So I sat there and I did my first tour, and I was happened to be on the USS Saratoga during Desert Storm. So I ended up in the middle of the Red Sea for 8 months during Desert Storm, and doing the blockades and doing the flight ops and everything, and got to stand on the flight deck of the USS Saratoga on my birthday, watching our first launches into Iraq. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And then after I got done with that, I was like, well, this Navy thing's not bad, and they owe me shore duty, so let me do some shore duty, and got stationed in wonderful Warminster, Pennsylvania.
Sorry? Where?
Warminster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's over in Bucks County.
Okay.
So that was my first taste of Pennsylvania, as you would say. So I sat there and I did my tour there and met my wife and started having a family. And I was like, well, this Navy gig isn't too bad, so we decided to stay. So 23 and a half years later, I retired.
But you went pretty far up through the ranks, didn't you?
I made it all the way up to Chief Petty Officer. Only 10% of the people that actually go in the Navy make it up to Chief Petty Officer, so I'm very proud of that. I keep all my memorabilia from the military and everything. It sits in my office over at work. And I'm very proud about that. I still belong to a Chief Petty Officers Association up in Pittsburgh, and we come together every once in a while. And we do some neat things. We do some fundraising and stuff like that. So I'm a joiner. I sit there and I stay involved with the veterans in the community, and I believe that we need to be there to support each other. So the VFW, American Legion, and all that kind of stuff is very important to me to make sure that I continue my service.
Now, whenever you were done, you said 23 and a half years? Mm-hmm. Okay, what did you do? And that's when you came to Scottdale, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think I kind of went through the emotions like everybody else that comes out of the military, as I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I figured with my leadership skills, I come to Western Pennsylvania, I'm like, I'll get a job right away, and it didn't come out as I planned. Mm-hmm. So by the time I got down to, I had a plan A, B, C. Mm-hmm. Well, I got down to plan F, and then I decided that it was time to get an education, because that was the only way I was going to get anything going here in Western Pennsylvania.
Now, if you don't mind me backing you up, what year was this?
This was in 2010.
Okay, all right.
And then in 2012, I decided that it was time to get an education after going through 4 jobs.
Okay.
So
then you went to school.
Then I went to school. I went down to Penn State Fayette down here. Got a degree in Human Development and Family Studies. Got to meet some wonderful people. Got to connect with other veterans that were educated-minded. And it was kind of great to sit there and be around that support group. But I knew I wanted to help people. That's why I got a degree in Human Development and Family Studies. But during that process, a couple of my professors made me realize that I was pretty good at this counseling thing. And I was like, well, maybe I need to go get my master's degree in counseling.
Oh, okay.
So I applied up to California University of Pennsylvania, and I went up to their program there and got my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. And worked at CalU for a little bit, working with the veterans, and just kind of solidified how I really wanted to be involved with helping veterans. Actually got introduced to this thing through Living Works on suicide prevention. So I actually got certified through them to be a suicide prevention specialist. and I added that along with my counseling skills. So because it just kind of like, that's the reason I kind of went into the whole counseling thing.
Keith and I talked earlier about his desire to help veterans, and that was really the impetus that got you going. But I remember you telling me something about what really pushed you in that direction was learning about, is it 22 a day?
Yep. USA Today came out with an article back in 2013 about 22 veterans a day committing suicide.
That's
and they
horrible.
Said, it hit me to the core because one of the sailors that I was actually stationed with had committed suicide right around the same time. So I'm like, huh. And a couple of them I knew were struggling. And I was like, well, what can I do? Because I knew I needed to help people. And it's like, okay, what population do I want to help? I'm like, well, what population do I know more than any other population? And that's my veterans. So I sat there and I was like, well, let's get all the training I can to sit there and help the veterans that I can reach out to. So I sat there and I got this training through Living Works and became a prevention specialist, and then I had my degree, so I kind of combined them together. But during this whole process, I kind of went on this spiritual path, which is kind of, it was interesting, and I'm like, well, how do I combine this? And so I kind of got introduced to a modality called Reiki. So Reiki is an ancient healing technique that we use energy to sit there and help people relax. And I call it a mindfulness modality that we can sit there and help people kind of get back to themselves. So I started utilizing counseling and Reiki and putting this all together. And it was just, I think it's just a perfect marriage to come together and sit there and help veterans.
Now, you are, excuse me, presently you are set up at, where is it that you're set up at?
I'm at Synergy Spring Soul
Okay.
Center in Mount Pleasant. I have a supervisor who just does wonderful things, and she sits there and she's taught me how to become a Reiki master.
Oh,
So
awesome.
now I have my master's degree in counseling, and I'm a Reiki master. And we, right now my schedule is getting filled more and more every single week. And the more people see what we're doing, the more people want to come in the door. So it's kind of a neat thing working with people. And there's been a lot of books about veterans and their soul, and we do a lot of soul work. That's why it's called the Soul Center.
Oh.
So the soul I relate to self, and we kind of lose our sense of self. So when we turn around and we do counseling, I sit there and I work on your soul, which is regaining your sense of self. So when I sit there and explain that to clients, they're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I can work on that. I know who I am. And I was like, okay, well, let's see who you really are. And then we work from there.
Keith sees a lot of people from different walks of life. He has experiences with a lot of people, but he told me that he found a desire to really reach out to veterans in particular. He knows. It was something there again too. I never even thought of until he and I sat down and talked. That veterans, people in the military, they have one thing that they definitely share, and that's that mind sync. That's the way that we as regular people don't realize it, but they have a way that they're taught to think and a way they're taught to act, and they share that. And you understand that. So that's, he said that he decided he wanted to start focusing, and then tell us about the support group.
Okay. So with my boss, we decided that we needed to we had the space to sit there and have a support group, and I was like, well, I have evenings open. Let's see what we can do to sit there and try to see if we give a space for veterans to come and sit there and talk about it. Because if I was lost and I thought I was in a good place, there's people out there that get out and I know that they're lost too. So I want to be able to give them a space where they can come together as veterans, helping each other to get to where they need to be in life. Because we kind of get distracted with life things. I mean, look what's going on now in the world. I sit there and I know that the numbers were high before COVID even started. And now these veterans are sitting there being pulled more back into their homes. I can't imagine what they're going through. And I just want to be able to give a safe space for them to come and be able to come together and talk. And let's talk about it. And she's allowed me to have this space for free.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And the only thing I'm asking these guys, if they could sit there and give a donation and help me keep the lights on so I can sit there and keep on doing what I'm doing. And I don't think there's anybody else out there doing that. I want them to be able to realize that there's someone out here that cares. They want to listen to them, and they're going to have that space where they can come and open up a little bit.
Let them talk, let them listen, let them just be a part of, as I said, a group of same-minded individuals. Do you have like a format or anything that you're planning on doing with the support group, or are you just going to have everyone just kind of sit and introduce themselves, or or is it going to be very low key? I mean, what are your plans? And this support group hasn't started yet. We'll tell you about that dates and times. But
the way I'm thinking about it is I want to we have to build a rapport. I mean, even when a unit comes together in the military, we sit there and all of us don't know each other, so we have to get to know each other. So with a support group like this, I want us to get together, kind of build that rapport with one another, see where we're all coming from, and try to figure out where we need to go with the support group. I want to be very untraditional. I don't want to be very rigid counseling minded in this thing, because I think a lot of veterans have this stigma in their mind what counseling looks like and what counseling should be, and I kind of want to be very untraditional about this, because I want them to be able to come someplace where they feel comfortable and they're able to talk about what's going on.
And this is veterans across the board, though. This is
Absolutely.
I mean, this is veterans from well, we still have a couple World War II veterans, Korean veterans, Vietnam veterans, any veteran that you feel out there that you need, as we said, to talk, or just have somebody listen, or
Because
Keith's your guy.
I sit there and I did my speech for Veterans Day yesterday, and I'm like, if the veterans can't hear me, if you know someone that's a veteran and they need someone to reach out to them, have them talk. Even if they don't sit there and come to my support group, they need to talk to somebody. So many Vietnam vets came back and never talked about their experiences. They sat there and they held on to this for such a long period of time. I have a father-in-law. I'm the only person he can sit there and talk to about his experiences. And over the years, I've been married to my wife for 27 years, he has been able to sit there and release some of the stuff about his time in Vietnam, but in his mind, he's still in Vietnam. And that's what I want to do, is be able to create a space so these people cannot be stuck where they served. I want them to sit there and look at life and enjoy life to where it is today.
I think maybe in a lot of cases, too, that the veterans, they're not really encouraged at home maybe to talk about things, or maybe they, as we keep saying, they don't feel comfortable talking to their family, whereas they may feel more comfortable talking to you and fellow veterans that kind of have an idea of what they went through, or maybe what they're experiencing.
I think everybody has their own individual experience. A lot of people don't want to share what they saw because they've seen some horrible things. They don't even want to see it themselves. So that's why you kind of lose your sense of self, because the things that you saw. One author, his name is Edward Tick, he talks about war in the soul, and how us warriors kind of take ourselves and kind of put our soul to the side, so that way we don't have to see it. And it's an interesting book, and I kind of like take on what he has taught me in his book and sit there and bring it to the counseling. So let's bring that part of self back, because it's okay to talk about those things, and it's okay to sit there and allow yourselves to free yourself of that.
So when and where and what time is this? Well, we know where. What time is the support group going to take place?
It's going to be at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. My very first one is going to be next Tuesday, and probably going to take the week off because we're going to go right into Thanksgiving the week after.
So it is going to be weekly, though.
But
we're going to try to be.
Okay. We're going to sit there and see what the sense of the group is. I'd like to do it weekly. If there's too many people, I might have to sit there and do it like every other week and split the groups up. I don't know.
Okay.
We don't know what it's going to look like, but I really want to see what kind of people we attract in this first week, and we'll go from there. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that they're there to support each other.
Right.
I mean, once we get together, us military guys, we just kind of like to dig on each other. But the thing is, we're still one big brotherhood and a sisterhood when we sit there and we come together as a collective. And it's kind of neat when we start digging at each other. So when we have someone outside the group start digging at us, whoa, wait, you don't get the right to do that.
I did want to point out here real quickly too, before we move on, that if you are a veteran that you feel that you would like to talk to someone, or have someone, as I said, listen to you, and you don't really maybe feel comfortable in a group environment, Keith is also available, I guess, on a daily basis with your regular counseling.
Yep. My schedule does get filled up, but I usually have appointments available during the week, and I could do individual counseling. And I'm there Tuesday through Thursday from 9 in the morning to 7 at night. And I do Mondays by schedule, and on Friday I work till noon because I need my 2.5 day weekend. Need a break.
Well, actually, I'm quite sure you're busy on weekends because that's another hat that Keith happens to wear. He is the commander, quartermaster.
Quartermaster.
Did I have that wrong in the paper?
I'm the former commander,
Okay.
and I'm the current quartermaster of the VFW in Scottdale.
The VFW in Scottdale. He's been active here for a couple years. And ironically, Keith is the youngest member here.
Yeah.
And that's something that we want to talk about to see if we can't maybe rectify that situation. Keith, I know, is very, very interested in trying to build this club back up, but he wants to explain about the stigma of organizations such as this. So there you go.
Right.
Take it away.
And that's the one word you said I want to kind of take away from this is the word club. You know, and it's a veterans club, yes, but the thing is, it's about veterans supporting veterans. Right now, we just don't have the membership, and the newer veterans that are coming out just don't. I guess they see it as something different than what it is, or they just kind of want to get back into their life and just kind of like forget about what they did in the service. You know, the one thing that I like that helped me, because there was no one like me out there that can go for support, except for going up to the vet center up in White Oak or up to the Pittsburgh Hospital, is coming to the VFW and being able to talk to the guys that did service time and came out, and being able to sit there and have that camaraderie again, because we have this thing called the esprit de corps. You know, being able to sit there and feel like you belong part of something. And when I came here, I was able to talk to those guys and feel like I still belong to something bigger than myself. And these guys helped me along the process of being a veteran, showing up to funeral honors. I mean, we have World War II veterans that are dying like crazy, and we have Vietnam veterans that are just not healthy because of what they got exposed to in Vietnam. So we do quite a few funerals around here, and we have less and less guys that are around to do funerals because they'll be the funeral next week. You know, and it's hard to see that. The 3 guys that got me into this have passed away over the last 10 years since I got started. And trying to get the new members to come in and sit there, be a member of the VFW, American Legion, and Vets, or any type of these groups that do funeral honors, it's tough, you know, and it's a way to turn around and get the support that you need that's outside of a counseling center, that you can sit there and go talk to veterans. I'm trying to make it more of a family type thing instead of just a bar.
And you had said community as well.
Yeah,
You want to get into
make
the
it more
community?
I mean, this little club right here, we actually raised over $10,000 last year and gave it back to the community. Southmoreland High School and the community, just their programs need money, and we're able to sit there and raise the money here to sit there and give back to those types of communities. So, you know, the marching band is with us every single time we sit there and we go out for a parade. You know, we give them a donation. You know, the town needed a new scoreboard. You know, I sat there and we came together as a group, and we found out we had enough money to sit there and pay pay off the rest of the scoreboard. That's stuff that this community needs, because I think we kind of lost the sense of community, and I think veterans can come together and start creating that sense of community within these communities.
Now, how, excuse me, who qualifies to be a member of the VFW? Then we'll talk about the American
Yeah.
Legion as well, but what type of veterans would qualify to be a part of this organization?
So the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, pretty much the title explains it. So it's like boots on ground, where you sat there and you went and fought a foreign war. So basically, if you have a combat infantry badge going overseas, any type of eminent danger pay, eminent fire pay, any type of thing that sits there and shows that within your DD-214, which is the discharge paper that you get when you get out.
For us lay people that...
For everybody that doesn't know.
He must have seen the look on my face like, what is that? Okay.
But I can look at a veteran's DD-214 and find out right away if they're going to be qualified for the VFW. So basically, if you're boots on the ground somewhere where we were in combat with another nation, we could sit there and you could be a member of VFW. There's a small thing if you went to Korea during a certain time frame, you could sit there and you qualify to be a member of the VFW. Even though we're not in action over there, you were in Korea, you were actually in harm's way.
Okay.
So, you know, boots on the ground, in harm's way. If your ship, if you're in the Navy, sailed into certain waters during the time frame and you got eminent danger pay while you're there, you qualify.
Okay.
You know, as long as it shows up on your DD 214.
And like Keith said, he really wants to stress this is not, because the stigma is there. This is not someplace to come and drink. Veterans have to understand you can help with all kinds of different services, with all kinds of different benefits. I mean, you have there's just so many different things that the veterans can help. They can get here.
Well, one of the biggest things is the VFW has a service officer that sits up in Pittsburgh, and each club is each unit, but each club is supposed to have a service officer that sits there and guides you to the next service officer. So if the club has a service officer and they're actually certified, they can actually sit there and help you fill up your claim to go to the VA, so you can get your benefits to the VA. So that's one of the things that I've been working towards, is becoming a service officer, so I can sit there and help these veterans get their benefits that they deserve.
Awesome.
Because we get a lot of guys that come out and it's like, well, I did my time, I got hurt, but I really don't want anything for it. And it's like, it's a benefit that you deserve. That's something that you should be compensated for. So a lot of these guys and girls just need to realize that they need to sit there and get compensation for the things that are basically our military took away from us. There's 23 years I banged myself up pretty good. I get compensated for some of the things that have happened to me. So there's no reason, there's no bad thing about sitting there doing it, because that's what they accounted for this.
Well, speaking of sitting, actually, Keith and I are sitting in the back room, I guess you would consider this, of the VFW. And this is a vision for him. He would really like to see this become a rec type.
Yeah, I kind of want to turn it into a place where veterans and their families can come here and feel comfortable about coming back here. We've built it up a little bit. We got a big screen TV here, and we got a pool table, we got a dartboard. And I need younger veterans to come in here with ideas of what they would like to see go on around here, because, being the youngest guy at 52, I have different ideas than the other members in here that are 70, 80 years old.
Right.
And
then the younger veterans that are in their 30s might have different ideas as well.
So that's what I'm hoping to do, is try to get some of the newer veterans. I mean, we can't make change here until people show up.
Right.
So, and that's what I'm hoping for.
You need the warm bodies. Well, in addition to the VFW, the American Legion is also another organization. We have one here in Scottdale, and there's several in the area.
Yeah.
Just tell us the difference, because I know that's one thing I asked you. What's the difference as far as membership qualifications between the two organizations?
Well, the American Legion, I'm a member. The exact qualifications, but pretty much you had to be serving during a time of war.
Okay, but you didn't have to be.
But you didn't have to be in war.
Okay.
So, they have certain qualifications and everything to sit there and be able to go. And, if you go to any American Legion, they'll turn around and tell you right away by looking at your DD 214 whether or not you qualify. And, usually when you get that national defense sitting on your chest, pretty much you qualify to go to American Legion. So, it's not that hard to go find out, and it's not that hard to sit there and become a member and make change.
Right.
Because it takes numbers to make change, it takes a voice to make change, and that's what we really need in these clubs and organizations, is to make some change. One organization I know that's out there that sits there and pretty much takes you just because you signed a paper and got an honorable discharge was AMVETS.
Are there still AMVETS in the area?
Yeah, there's an AMVETS down in Hopwood.
Okay.
And one of my friends is actually the state commander, and he lives down, he was living down in Uniontown, but I don't know if
I didn't realize that they were still in existence.
Yep.
But they're on the same lines, though?
Yeah, they're on the same lines, and basically you had to be active duty member or someone that served and got out with honorable discharge to be a member of AMVETS. They have the potential to be the largest veteran organization in the country, and a lot of people just don't know that they're out there because there's not a physical building sitting around. And a lot of the American Legions and VFWs are like combining and having combination clubs.
And also, too, we were talking a little bit earlier, I know organizations like the American Legions, and I know you would like to see this as well happen again here, but they do have auxiliaries, or they have like, is it Sons of American Legion?
Yep.
I think that's right. Shame on me.
They have Sons and Daughters of American Legion. They have several different. They got Legion Riders, so people that are interested in motorcycles, they can sit there being Legion Riders. So I haven't really dug a lot into American Legion, but I know they have several organizations that come underneath there. I know through the VFW we have the auxiliary, and they actually call it the auxiliary. So when we hear auxiliary, people say, women's auxiliary. No,
ladies. Yes, I know it's the auxiliary.
It's auxiliary because if you are a son, a grandson, a granddaughter, anybody that actually fell in that line, that, just because you don't qualify for the VFW, you can qualify for the auxiliary. And that's one thing I'd like to start here, is get enough people to start an auxiliary.
That'd be
because
great.
they're actually an integral part of the club, because they can help raise money. They can help. We have a kitchen here, and they can sit there and help working with the kitchen. I mean, most of my guys here are old. We can't even start up the kitchen most of the time because we don't have the manpower to open up the kitchen. So, I mean, I have a great staff here that's able to sit there and do that now.
Now, as far as this VFW here, do you have to live in Scottdale?
No.
I mean, I live in Acme. Could I?
I have a member that lives in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
I have a member that lives in Poughkeepsie, New York. I have two members that live up in Pittsburgh. So you don't have to live in Scottdale to be a member of this VFW. You could join the VFW and be a member at large. You could join the VFW and belong to a specific post.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can, and when you go anywhere and you've got that VFW card, you can stop in a VFW and they have to provide you space.
Oh, wonderful.
So,
okay.
even if you don't drink or you don't sit there, you're able to go in and eat their food. You're able to go into a back room and sit there and
Have some quiet space,
have
maybe.
some quiet space. I used to travel a lot when I worked at California University, and I'd go to the VFW and I just needed some quiet space, and they'd set me up in a back room, and I'd eat dinner, and there was always food every single VFW I went to. So
And you guys always watch out for each other.
absolutely. I mean, I've never been in a VFW where I wasn't welcomed.
Wonderful. No, okay, how does somebody join?
The only thing to do is give us a call. We'll sit there and we'll fill out an application. Give me a copy of DD 214, and we'll sit there and we'll go from there. Here at this VFW, we pay for your first year's dues.
Oh,
So
awesome.
And we'll work it from there. But if you're involved and you're active, we find a way to pay your dues. And I'm a life member, so there's a way that you can actually pay for your life membership. So I don't have to pay my annual dues; it's all paid up. So I'm a member for life, and I'll always have that. So it doesn't matter what VFW I go to. I just show that card, and I'm welcome.
That's great. It's like I said, it's like the big giant brotherhood that you guys all
Absolutely.
share.
Yeah,
And we'd like more people to come and share that.
absolutely, because it's getting lonely. I want some people to come.
I hear echoes. It's echoing in here. We need to fill it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to add today?
No, I thank you for this opportunity, because
our pleasure.
we talk about veterans all the time and everything, and I don't see too many things happening like this, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to be able to speak and for people to be able to hear what's going on with veterans in the community. I may not resonate to all veterans, but I'm hoping I resonate to some, and be able to see that we're all here for each other, and it doesn't matter what branch you served in. I want to be able to sit there and be open and have a space for us all to come together.
Come together, talk, listen,
Yeah.
and share.
I mean, we have almost 1 million veterans in Pennsylvania. Over 3/4 of them live on the western side of Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we have a lot of veterans in this area, and I sit there and I'm watching Veteran Club after Veteran Club shutting down, and right now I know of 3 vet centers that are drivable, but they're overrun, and they got a good staff there and everything, but it's just a lot of people have this stigma about the VA too. So I want to be able to sit there and kind of break these stigmas down and make them realize that there's support out there for them, and we're here to help.
And then come on down.
Yeah.
Yep, we are here at the 200 South Broadway?
211 South Broadway,
211. Oh, so
Scottsdale.
close. And the American Legion actually is on the other end of town as
Yes,
well.
yep.
They also have a good organization. They have a good group of people. I believe they're probably suffering from the same
Absolutely.
problems that you are.
We're all
warm bodies.
having lack of warm bodies, and we're lack of finances right now, because COVID's making things difficult.
Yeah.
So, but we're making a run for it, and we're doing the best we can.
Okay, great. Thank you so much
you.
for joining us. We'll have your contact information at the end of the show,
Yeah.
so people can get in touch with you for the support group and or private
Yeah, absolutely.
sessions.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you again for your service.
Thank you.